Hi, I'm Raj Punjabi from HuffPost.
And I'm Noah Michelson, also from HuffPost.
And we're the hosts of Am I Doing It Wrong?, a new podcast that explores the all-too-human anxieties we have about trying to get our lives right.
Each week on the podcast, Raj and I pick a new topic that we want to understand better and bring a guest expert on to talk us through how to get it right.
And we're talking like legit, credible experts. Doctors, PhDs, all-around superheroes.
From HuffPost and Acast Studios, check out Am I Doing It Wrong? Wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome to this week's Nialler9 episode. I'm Niall and we're going to be talking to an Irish legend of music, for me anyway, David Kitt, about his new Jackson project, which is his electronic project he's been doing for about 14 years, I think, this year. And, you know, most people would know David Kitt as the singer-songwriter originally, but I think now at this point he's been doing New Jackson so long and he's had so many really great releases. He had 2017's From Night to Night, last year's Oops Pop album On Permanent Vacation. He's done some really great stuff in the electronic sphere, vocoder based often, but very much the latest stuff is much more techno pop. So I'm going to talk to David about his new Jackson project and its influences and some of the things that have happened over the years and what drives him to DJ and what he loves about it. And what he loves about making music as well. So actually the first time we've had David Kitt on the podcast somehow, so there you go, a rarity. So great to finally have him. I chatted to David for about an hour this week. He was based in Kerry, Dublin, so we will tune into his chat now. He is playing a big New Jackson show on Saturday the 28th of March at the Button Factory, a New Jackson live show with support from The Outside, which is his project with Aoife O'Neill, which we talk about as well on this podcast, as well as Rory Sweeney as well. And he also has a couple of other releases that he's teased, one with TR1 that we talk about as well. So yeah, let's have a listen to David Kitt and talk about New Jackson. So, how are you, David? How are you doing? How has your 2025 been so far?
It's been pretty busy, actually, hectic kind of.
Yeah.
It's quite unusual for this time of year. Like I've actually done 2 shows of completely new material, and it's only February 12th. So I guess that's good going. It's normally kind of harder to get that kind of energy going around this time of year, particularly in February.
Quite time of year. So you were doing the Doolin Festival, was it?
Yeah, I performed 10 new songs, David Kitt songs, and then I was doing a thing in Ennistimon, which was kind of a brand new show as well with Simon O'Reilly and Pat Duggan. So yeah, it was a lot of work getting those 2 shows together. Yeah, and I'm kind of back into a bunch of mainly New Jackson stuff at the moment.
Yeah, because you have a big New Jackson show coming up in the Button Factory in the end of March. So you're kind of leading up to that, I guess. That's your main focus at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I've got 2 releases. I started this kind of live ones series, which I guess the idea was that they were tracks that were still live, still kind of developing, and some of them were part of the live show, like progressions of versions of older tracks, evolutions maybe. And the first one was 2 brand new tracks. The next one is kind of a mix of new and old. And then the
Yeah.
third one is Rory Sweeney's helping me again with one of them, and Richie Egan, Jape is singing on one of them.
Very good.
So yeah, it's actually a really nice way. I really like EPs for that reason. They just they can be their own little world. They don't have to fit into this bigger picture of an album, which can be challenged. So it's kind of freer in a way.
Yeah, and you've kind of had quite a lot of EPs over the years with New Jackson since you started. Certainly the early stuff, like the first 4 releases were EPs, I believe, and then every now and again you've had a release out. So you've actually been doing New Jackson for quite a while now, because most people know you for originally as David Kitt, the singer-songwriter, but it's been 14 years now that you've been doing New Jackson. How's it feel to be doing it that long? Was it always did you start out as a kind of a long-term project, or was like, I just want to try something else out?
It was, it initially started as a kind of an anonymous project, like on SoundCloud. Within about like 5 weeks, 3 people that I know mailed me going, "Hey, who the hell are you?" Because I assumedly said Dublin, Ireland. I should have put up, Chicago, in Detroit or something, or wherever, like Antwerp. But people kind of, I just couldn't lie to people I knew and said, "Hey, it's me." And then slowly it kind of just got into the right hands. Like Body Tonic put out the first release, and John Talbot got hold of it and started playing it, and it just kind of got into the right hands and kind of snowballed. And Fergal Brennan made that really great video, and there was a lot of impact straight away.
Yeah. I guess it's kind of, how does it feel now in terms of it's different? Like you kind of had an immediate impact then. It was a good time to come out with something new, it felt like, maybe.
Yeah, it was a funny one, because around 2013 I had a lot of momentum. Like I was, remixing the XX and releasing on loads of different labels, DFA, Ghostly, Hivern, Turnification. And I got asked to go on tour with David Gray as a member of his band, which basically took over my whole life in terms of gigging, like I was traveling a lot. And I suppose I didn't have maybe quite enough focus to take advantage of that particular wave. And then there was another wave, you're kind of lucky if you get a second wave like that. There was another wave around 2019, 2020 when the Night Mail started getting played by Sven Vath and Solomon and all these kind of, giants of dancing. Right. And that was right before COVID, so I was playing Ibiza in 2019, 20, looked like bookings were going to be really good. And then COVID happened, and it's kind of like starting again or something. And, those waves are harder to kind of muster in a way, but on the flip side, I think it's just the name has, and I think the quality of the releases has been pretty consistent, and I haven't rushed anything or kind of.
Yeah, but you have been fairly consistent over those years. Like you have something pretty regularly.
Yeah, and there's loads more coming, and it's kind of settled. I think just creatively, I don't know. The live show feels better than ever. Even DJing, I've been DJing for 30 plus years, but I only feel like I'm really getting good as a DJ now or something,
Well, that's good. That's the way you should feel. I think you should never feel like you're so good that you should stop doing it or anything like that. Like for me, DJing is about, like, I don't know, just like the thrill of it, the thrill of the new, almost the thrill of playing something different that maybe you haven't played before.
Exactly, or a mix you haven't done, and try not to over prepare and just respond to the moment.
I guess it's different, right? I mean, because you sometimes do a lot of different things, and you juggle a few different pies or whatever you want to call it, or turntables, whatever. So, like, when you do a David Kitt DJ set, well, how is that different than a New Jackson DJ set, or is it just like a billing thing?
It is different. Like I played Hen's Teeth last Saturday,
week, and
I spent 3 days prepping for it, like just because the billing is different. And I kind of understand maybe what I think that means to people, or to me anyway. But yeah, I mean, I gotta have a big record collection. So like, you know, you're trying to make everything personal, but maybe you're trying to, relate the set to the story of what informed the records you made under that name or whatever. But I'm not gonna, I mean, the funny part of that is that I'm more likely to play a New Jackson tune as part of the David Kitt set, weirdly.
Yeah.
When I'm doing New Jackson, I play the Gary stuff, which I made with Lou McGrath. I'm playing the stuff that I made with Eddie Reynolds. I'm playing the stuff I made with Aoife O'Neill. For some reason, it's like, it's a bit cheesy standing there playing Having a Coke with You or something. I very rarely do it.
Yeah.
Whereas it seems to fit more in the David Kitt sets for some reason.
So it just feels more like a sensibility thing, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think but like in general, it can go anywhere. Like when I actually just start DJing, the tempos are all over the shop, and there's it's generally quite eclectic and personal, I suppose, and responding to whatever the situation needs. So it could go anywhere. You could come to a New Jackson gig and get a hip hop set, So
isn't that the fun of DJing though itself? I mean, you say 3 days prep, but like, I know what you mean. I think the 3 days prep is probably like your idea of what you might bring to it. But once you're there, the fun of DJing is however it ends up, and you're like, I didn't think I'd be going that way. Whatever you respond to in the room is kind of the different thing, different part of it. The gel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ripping records is a big part of it for me. I'm just kind of slowly working through all that stuff and just discovering gems that you kind of forgot about, stuff that you bought, you barely listened to, stuff I got from Craig and City Discs back in the day or whatever, just sits there. But
I started doing the nerdy thing of putting all the records I have on Discogs because I kept forgetting what I had and trying to find them again. I was like, I think I have that already somewhere, but I don't know where it is. And I was like, it's a great way. The same way if you just bring a small bag of records to DJ somewhere, you might run out of time and you're like, I have to play a B-side, and you're like, I didn't know that was that good. It's actually great. That B-side's great,
Absolutely.
that kind of thing.
Great B-sides out there. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Bandcamp's great that way. Your whole connection is right there.
Yeah.
And you can I've actually had to download my own tracks and I forgot to change, I actually paid for them. I was like, you can just change the price to zero, like intermittently.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure you could download the original file somehow without having to pay for it, you would think.
You would think, and you can, but I was
All right, well, what about the evolution of New Jackson as a project then? It's kind of over time, when it started out, it was very much like the vocoder-based thing. Maybe it was that because you were trying to obscure yourself a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. And I was also really sick of writing songs, like lyrics. And the vocoder gives you this way, like lyrics can be hell, it's like writing your way. I always go back to that James Heaney thing about you write your way into something and you write your way out, and if you don't get enough on the way in, getting out can be such a battle. It can take you years. I've there's a couple of songs. I'd say the record's about 7-8 years. It's taken me to finish the song. Whereas the vocoder, it's more about sound and the sound of the words, and like something like Made It Mine, which eventually became a David Kitt song, was completely abstract and just about the sounds. And then as I was performing it, the lyrics developed. So yeah, the vocoder just took away that pressure to commit to a set of lyrics, and you can just bang stuff out, because I could write melodies all day long, but lyrics I find very challenging. So there was that part of it. But
you've kind of then softened over the last few years in terms of the lines between the two projects have blurred. Like you said, you have done some versions of New Jackson songs as David Kitt versions, certainly, at least one anyway, and Oops Pop from last year, your album on Permanent Vacation, is much more a mesh of those two styles. It's the electronic, like the techno pop stuff. That's what the term for it is. Like, it's singer-songwriter, vocals and melodies, but it's also dance music as well.
Yeah, that was a very willfully concise techno pop kind of record. Like I was trying to make something specific. All the tracks, like Permanent Vacation, have been trying to get me to shorten my tracks since the beginning.
Right.
Like every time I send them something, they're like, "Yeah, but could you make it like 2 minutes shorter?" And like there's always that kind of trancey, kind of druggy, stonery thing of my stuff that I just love. Long,
yeah.
Even in my David Kitt stuff, I've always had these long outros. It's like get the song finished, in 2 or 3 minutes, and then go off on a 5 minute end, outro.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff, and I think that's a big part of the attraction of the New Jackson work. But it wasn't necessarily just like giving them what they wanted. It was more myself. I wanted to do something more concise. And, like a lot of albums, it kind of, you get these 2 or 3, 4 tracks that kind of suggest a bigger world, and slowly you start filling it in. And Like was the first big one on Oops Pop that I had that felt very Oops Pop, that bit, just something about that kind of. It's but in a way, it went back to the original stuff that informed New Jackson, which was a lot of boogie and 80s synth pop and stuff like Wham and Egyptian Lover, and I think that stuff finally got to come out in a more crystallized kind of way, in a more obvious way.
Yeah,
and something like Out of Reach, that was actually the last song I wrote for the record, and it's kind of the perfect summation of what the record was trying to do.
Yeah, you mentioned in the presser for that, the press release, you said a mile bank Jason Donovan off it. So, and you said Jason Donovan via Stock Aitken and Waterman is definitely part of my pop musical DNA. So similarly then, I guess a bit of Wham, Everything She Wants, as you mentioned, is a part of that as well. Because I did ask you.
Wham's part of everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wham is, it's a Juno 106 bass line and pads and an 808, and you know what I mean? And it's like it's informed by all the same stuff like Bobby O and, roll, skate, bounce, all that kind of amazing. Like George Michael was a musicologist, you know what I mean? He was
he did all of that, didn't he? I mean, that's the Wham stuff is him,
Yeah.
It's not like they got somebody else in to do it. He made it all.
Somebody told me, boy, everything she wants is everything she sees. I guess I must have loved you because I said you were the perfect girl for me, baby. And now we're 6 months older, and everything you want and everything you see is out of reach, not good enough. I don't know what the hell you want from me.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when you look at the documentary and they show how, he went to Muscle Shoals to record Careless Whisper and, with Jerry Wexler and all the kind of Muscle Shoals band and everything. And he just came home and went, sorry. And like, I love that, I love that confidence. And you see him at the board, see him at the mixing console. And he's still only 23, 24 or something. So it's, but yeah, it is. It's all, and he wrote all the amazing bass lines, everything. It's he's always been a massive inspiration, and I feel like I'm always kind of asking myself, is there still a bit of Wham in this, in whatever I do, even something like Exit Loop off the last EP I put out.
Yeah. Okay.
I can hear Wham still.
Very good. Wow. Okay. Nice. So. Yeah, I guess you can definitely hear that, the techno pop, the marriage of all those things there. You mentioned also Egyptian Lover, right? So Egyptian Lover. I've seen him live a good few times. He's incredible. I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, I'll play a bit of the tune actually, and yeah, so that's I Cry Night After Night from Egyptian Lover. Probably a softer version of his lyrically anyway than what he normally does. He's very much freak obsessed. How would you describe him? He's like 80s electro. I remember seeing him at Primavera a couple of years ago, and the Sugar Club as well. And I remember the Primavera one. It was in the car park. And he was just like throwing vinyl after he finished playing it. I was like, this is gas, but you probably want that sometime.
Yeah, I think he's just like, the first time I saw him was at Mantua, which I think was...
Oh, yeah, I was at that. Yeah. That's probably the first time I saw him. Yeah.
Like 2007, 8 maybe.
Was that the one that was up the hill and they had to stop the music for the mass?
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
But it was like, half the people knew who he was and half of them didn't. But by the end of that show, he had everyone eating out of his hand. And I think what I love is the first half an hour is just deadly serious and like loads of them, all vinyl, doing amazing tricks, playing the records backwards, beat juggling, like skills, like proper technical, incredible DJing with vinyl, everything sounding crisp and perfect, and he's shouting at the engineer out front to he's working, he's fixing the PA from the stage, and then on a dime he just goes into the kind of the Pharaoh dance with James Jupiter, and it's just all of a sudden it's really silly and hilarious, and that that's something that has always been part of the New Jackson thing as well. It's like, the ridiculous and the sublime or whatever, it's there has to be a fun kind of silly element to it, and a reminder not to take things too seriously, but it's just establishing yourself as a master of DJing and, working a club and working a crowd, and then flipping it into this kind of showbiz silly aerodance stuff and breaking, and I mean, what I love about that track is it's most likely informed by a real life event. Like, it sounds like it was informed by a breakup, or lover was genuinely having a bad day, or
a jilt. He's been jilted. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's been jilted, but it's that, on the Prince guitar thing. But Prince, I watched actually the Prince Super Bowl there after watching the Kendrick one 5 times. I was watching Prince playing incredible guitar in high heels in the rain, a very slippery runway. Unbelievable.
The Kendrick one was I mean, it's the most watched American event of all time. Apparently. Crazy stuff. Yeah, but that Egyptian Lover is a great one. I mean, I can definitely hear a lot of influence in terms of your music there as well, and the guitar is really special on that tune, I think, as well. It's like it doesn't generally go for that kind of thing. It's more synth based, but that's a special track. It's a special track. Yeah. So in terms of like you do a lot of collaborations, and especially Oops Pop had a lot of collaborations on it, and that was obviously must have been a deliberate thing. Yeah, so I mean, did you set out to do collaborations across that record this time out? Because I don't think From Night to Night did it have any.
There's a few people on it. I mean, Ben Castle, Ben.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
he
Ben who plays.
He does amazing
sax.
stuff on Put the Love in It.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was mainly me, actually. Yeah, there may be Margie Lewis is on something backing vocal wise.
Yeah, but very much like there's nearly every track on Oops Pop has somebody involved, whether it's Rita Lynn, you have Donica Costello, Richie Egan, Yankee, King Kavanagh, Margie's on as well, Meg Cronin and Feta all feature. So yeah, very much. I mean, collaboration is something that you're really interested in, of course, and you have a new EP with Eddie Reynolds TR1 coming out called Motor, which is on Bandcamp at the moment for pre-order. That's kind of inspired by machine-driven house and techno from the US Midwest. So yeah. So that's when did that come about?
That was actually like Eddie came down. We like the first time me and Eddie collaborated was literally like 2010 or something. I went down. I mean, Eddie and Dean when they were at Tier 1 were like 19 at the time or something.
Oh yeah,
and they were just these two encyclopedias of house and techno that have been working in Abbey Disc since they were 14. And we just hit it off. I mean, the way we actually initially connected was through Dean coming to a David Kitt show in Carlow, and I did a bit of an Arthur Russell song at the end of one of my songs. And he was an Arthur Russell nut, and he came up and we were chatting about Arthur Russell and then about other music, and we kept in touch. And then I was kind of started getting into the Tier 1 stuff, and then we went and did a session. But that was like, so cut to kind of 14 years later. And Eddie came down to Kerry literally for a day and a half, like, a day and 3/4 maybe work days. We did 7 tracks. And they're all like, they're all kind of live, but done very quickly. We'd done a bit of prep, but it was all very much kind of done live. We had with machines, kind of old, like the old way, kind of print the track. And it turned out really well. So yeah, we put out the first 4. There'll be another, we're hoping to do 3 EPs, and just like an hour's worth of music and put a live show together, hopefully, and do some DJing. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun actually. It was very effortless. And I think again, it's just like all those years of doing the New Jackson stuff and him doing his own thing. He's kind of a master of the MPC sampler, so we just had like 2 or 3 machines each on the go, and just,
you had that edits thing that I loved from 2013, the band Apartment. Lubricating Rita, that tune.
Yeah,
oh God. Love that song.
I know a lot of people thought that was actually me on because I was doing the vocoder stuff or whatever, but it's obviously it's in the film Educating Rita in the nightclub scene in Godstown or whatever, Hollywood Nights. But I mean we've done it. We've got history, but it's the first time we've really kind of got into the studio and properly made something together. Yeah, I mean I did that edit with Dick actually in my house in Sandymount, but Yeah. So you've since moved to Kerry.
Yeah. Obviously, that was lockdown when you did that, was it?
Yeah, it was lockdown 2020, September 2020. So I've been here 4 and a bit years now.
Did you expect to be there that long?
No, I didn't. But I'm still here.
Where are you now? Where are you?
I'm in Ballinskelligs. I mean, I've been in the same place all along.
You're looking at the Skelligs like the Idiot Check cover.
Yeah, I'm not far from that spot. I'm kind of
Right.
closer to Ballinskellig Beach. That's
It's some view. It's some view. It's so special.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's still giving, like it's still kind of very like awe-inspiring, and it's a very special place.
You find it fairly inspiring then, being there.
Yeah, it just keeps kind of giving. It's like it's like my partner's in Dublin, and that's a challenge, and so I'm probably spending a bit more time up there again. I can't see. It's just like I have such a love-hate relationship with Dublin, as a lot of people do, I guess. And there's still
it's something you've talked about before. It's obviously hard to make a living as an artist in Dublin, and I think that's not getting any easier. So, I mean, has Kerry alleviated that somewhat? It's a lot more affordable, yes. And I've got, I can have my studio, and I've got a bit of space, and I can get work done. And, it's just a bit like, I've an extra few hours drive at the end of the day or whatever, coming back from some gigs late at night or whatever. But it's just, when you get on that home straight and you're here, it's just like quality of life, just making all your own food and lots of fresh fish and all sort of, it's just a healthier kind of lifestyle, and it's just, it's a great place to live. Yeah. And it probably, in terms of making music, if you're in a healthier lifestyle, a better place, you can feel that way creatively, and then maybe, less of a burden to, maybe you can say no to some stuff as well if you need to. Not quite. I say yes to every, just for the record. I say yes to every. Well, obviously, like, making music full time is not an easy thing to do. No, make a living from it. I mean, I know exactly what you mean. No, I mean it's I think you probably have to do slightly less of the kind of bar gigs and hustly gigs that you just have to do if you're gonna survive in Dublin. And whereas moving down here, you don't rely on them quite as much, and I mean it's still it's still a challenge making ends meet being a full-time musician, but it's been very healthy for creativity and productivity. Like I'm making more music than I've ever made, so something has to be right. There's a lot.
The new Boost Mobile network is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for life.
That sounds like a threat.
Then how do you think we should say it?
Unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month for the rest of your life?
I don't know.
Until your ultimate demise.
What if we just say forever?
Okay.
$25 a month, forever.
Get unlimited talk, text, and data for just $25 a month with Boost Mobile forever.
After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Hi, I'm Raj Punjabi from HuffPost.
And I'm Noah Michelson, also from HuffPost.
And we're the hosts of Am I Doing It Wrong? A new podcast that explores the all-too-human anxieties we have about trying to get our lives right.
Each week on the podcast, Raj and I pick a new topic that we want to understand better and bring a guest expert on to talk us through how to get it right.
And we're talking like legit, credible experts. Doctors, PhDs, all-around superheroes.
From HuffPost and Acast Studios, check out Am I Doing It Wrong? Wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you have any thoughts on the current discourse around streaming services and Spotify or anything like that?
It's so difficult, because one of the things that I've been doing for the last few years is kind of getting all my music in one place and one digital distributor. And I've got it to a point now where, I make 200 quid a month or whatever, like from streaming, but most of that's from Spotify. And as someone who's never been paid anything for any records, I never made a penny from, the Big Romance or Not Fade Away back in the day, records that were on, proper labels, and I never got paid for anything. Like, and I get a few quid every year from Permanent Vacation, a few grand every year, and most of it's from Spotify. I mean, I think the one thing that I think people can do I still use bloody Spotify, so I can't comment. And I do find the Bandcamp a bit clunky. But, you know,
same, yeah.
if you think about it, if you really want to do something for artists, and I use Bandcamp all the time for DJing, you know, it's on my laptop, but it's not on my phone as much.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, my intention, Richie J just recently did it. He deleted Spotify, you know, completely reorganized his Apple Music, you know, stuff, and transferred all his Spotify playlists, everything. You know, and it takes you a day and a half, and I think your conscience is clearer in terms of some of the dodgy shit that Spotify's involved in.
Yeah, certainly that all the stuff that's peripheral to the actual streaming platform.
100%.
Not even talking about the streaming, you know, royalty rates or anything like that. It's all the other
But
sponsoring
the deal,
inauguration parties and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But the money too, you know, like, I mean, like, I look at I'm kind of forensic about, you know, when I've been transferring all this stuff and seeing where the money's coming from, and, you know, and where, you know, how much is, who's paying what. And like, yeah, if like one basic thing that people can do is, delete Spotify and get on Apple Music. Yeah, I mean, it's quite a, you know, it's most people have an iPhone. Well, not most, but a lot of people have an iPhone and have a Mac anyway. So it's kind of part of that ecosystem.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I think you can have Apple Music. I have an Android now, so you don't.
Yeah.
I have it on my phone. Yeah, it's that kind of thing for me. It's like I'm trying to get off it, but at the same time, I kind of have to be on it. For now.
I mean, like, I still, my intention is to delete the app myself.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm going to chat to Liz Pelly soon about her book, Mood Machine, which is all about Spotify and its various nefarious practices. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to having a chat with her about all that stuff, because, you know, I think for a lot of people, I think musicians are aware of these things, but a lot of the wider world sometimes are just unaware that, you know, well, I streamed on Spotify, so like they surely got some money for that, but it's not the same as going to a gig, buying a record, even spending $129 on a song or an MP3 or whatever it is, or Wham on Bandcamp.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, like, if you really want to help it, buy the shit on fucking Bandcamp. Yeah.
So I have a few other tracks that you picked that kind of you would say have influenced the New Jackson project. So one of them is let's go with this Joy Orbison song. Joy Orbison and Ben Vince, Systems Align from 2018. I'll play it here now and we'll go back and talk, because obviously there's lots of stuff going on in Joy Orbison's world at the moment as well.
Pick this maybe as a, you know, I think for me, you know, the kind of movement within, it's not even necessarily movement, but the little neck of the woods of music that has really kind of caught my attention has been, you know, Liberty Sounds, Hessel Audio in the last kind of 10 years, you know, and you know, I could have easily picked Pearson Sound tracks or Paviralist or Batu or any of those that kind of world. I think it's just like that track, just, you know, you can come out of something that's maybe more housey or techno, and it just changes the room. It changes the PA. Everyone's just going, what the fuck is this sonic kind of incredible sonic experience? You know, if anyone's on drugs in the room, they start kicking in, you know, so it's just, I don't know. I think, you know, I mean, it's kind of maybe like, you know, obvious to pick Joy Orbison because he's kind of like, he's almost like the what's the linchpin, or the kind of, you know, like he's really getting well-deserved props and
yeah,
you know, he's kind of
well, especially the last couple of years, he's really he's come back in a different way, I think, right? His influence has just grown, and like, every track is kind of, it's because he was quiet for a while as well, for, and obviously I think with Joy Orbison, he debuted quite a big way in 2009, around that time, with Wet Look and Heavy Mango and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So it's like, it's hard almost to get away from that at first, because if there's such a seminal records at the time, but he's really developed something completely different now in a way that feels different. Like I guess coming and releasing an album, Still Slipping in 2021 was like, it was a real marker for him. And I've loved everything he's done, because he's done the dance floor thing a lot, but he's done the headphone thing a lot lately as well. So just wonderful, like, sound design stuff, and nearly everything he's released lately has been of interest. He had a sign out last week as well, so it's just really, it's very rewarding, I find, his music.
Big time, it's masterful. It's just like, I think within it, it's like aspirate for me as a producer. There's just like lots of sonics that I really aspire to, and I find like that they are the bar, like that. And you can say the same for someone like Pearson Sound. It's just like, how the fuck did they do that? And just trying to reach for those places.
And even the track he released last year, the Flight FM, you're like, that was supposed to be some sort of like kind of throwaway, kind of clubby track he made on the way to a festival, and just really took off in a way that all of a sudden Fred again is doing something with it, and you're like, that's weird. But anyway, there you go. Like, it's like the outsized influence almost,
Yeah, and it's great to see something like that having that kind of success. Like, I think it's richly deserved, and he's like, he's just such an all rounder, amazing DJ. Great taste, amazing producer.
Now, you have a song on Oops Pop which is called Burnt Deep, and you also picked a song called Deep Burnt from Pépé Bradock, so that sounds a bit like this. Yeah, it's Deep Burnt by Pépé Bradock, which is, what year is that from? 1999, I think?
Yeah, Jesus.
French artist, kind of, a little bit French touch, hippie house kind of stuff. So, yeah, this is just a track you like, or more?
No, to me, it's an absolute masterpiece, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like an evolution of that French house. I guess, like, I have to include something from that world, because it all began with probably Roulet and Daft Punk and
so French touch.
Yeah, and Super Discount and all that kind of stuff, and all that evolution at the end of Crazy. And then, but like, to me, Pépé Bradock is probably the one that ultimately, there was a time, there was kind of a time around maybe 2009, 10, 11, which was like, there was just that kind of surge in that kind of sound, like sampley, kind of dusty, but there was something fresh about it. And that track, and say Theo Parrish, Solitary Flight, it was this deeper kind of, it was like, and that's what you would have got in, say, Panorama and Panorama Bar and Berg kind of around that time. Classic kind of Sunday afternoon rollover stuff. And But yeah, there's just something, I think that's still a masterpiece, but it's like I find myself, I think because it was so much part of the original New Jackson DNA, particularly that track and the TO one, like, you know, I find myself now, and there was like even Sistrum, like Patrice Scott's label and all that kind of classic, and more kind of classic machine, deep house, live machine, deep house stuff. Yeah, I it's kind of coming back up in, like, I find it, you know, like something about that sound maybe around the time I wrote the my track, Deep, what's my one called? Burnt Deep.
Burnt Deep.
I mean, it was definitely a nod to that sound, and it felt like at that particular moment, Deep House was about as uncool as it had ever been or something.
Yeah.
Which to me is kind of like an exciting time. I don't know, there's something about like not following the zeitgeist and just kind of leaning back into the real essence of what your project was at the beginning, and just kind of trusting it. And you know, I mean, while I do pay attention, and I definitely get inspired by stuff like Hessel Audio and Liberty Sound and all that, like that's kind of sonics, you know, like more maybe, and kind of druggy dance floor sound system stuff, but maintaining that kind of deep house essence and the boogie essence as part of the New Jackson sound has been kind of important to me, and just like remembering what that world began as, and always kind of honoring it in a way as still kind of progressing it. You know, Pépé Bradock's just one of those kind of, you know, consistent, you know, stamp of quality kind of artist. Every single thing he's put out is good. You know, it's got something to it, and it's very sample driven. You know, it's all. He's a big fan of the SB1200, which is part of the sonic bedrock of what New Jackson is, always will be. So, you know, it's I mean, that's just one of those. It's an absolute classic, and it still gives me kind of those chills when I hear it.
And how do you find now? I mean, you're talking about, you know, genres obviously come and go, and things that are popular or not. I mean, I think you talked about the surge of riding a wave of popularity or whatever just before COVID. Obviously, COVID changed a lot of things in terms of dance music and club music. Yeah. I think it, you know, there's a lot of people, myself included, I've heard of people talk about as well. You know, the idea that something was kind of broken a little bit. A thread was broken from that time to now. So we're kind of in this totally different world that maybe we wouldn't be in. Like, one example is obviously there's a lot of very fast dance music happening, very fizzy electronic music. The younger generation is interested in that. How do you feel about what's kind of like, you know, buzzing now, what people are into now in terms of dance music and clubs?
I mean, some of it was like with all the trancey, I mean, that's kind of like been around for a few years now, and maybe was starting pre-COVID, but it's almost like the kids are kind of saying, you know, like, because it wasn't cool the first time around. Do you know what I mean? It's like a lot of shit that I see having revivals or whatever was actually cool, you know, like, and I remember its power and cultural kind of, I don't know, importance or significance or whatever, and kind of excitement or whatever. But a lot of that kind of trancey stuff, to me, it's just kind of daft. I see younger DJs and electronic artists, and they make something that's kind of trendy maybe for you. Like, you know, the last time there was a big kind of house, like even, and proper Detroit techno kind of revival, you know, and stuff that would have been, the BPMs were already creeping up, you know, and you were into the 130s. But, you know, a lot of that stuff, I know a couple of artists out there, and I, you know, there's still records of theirs that I still play, but they would actually be embarrassed about those records because they're almost like that's like my bootcut jeans from, you know, from whatever. And I just don't see music that way, and I'm very happy and relieved that I don't. I just try to stay, like I there's just a thread, like, you know, most record, I don't have too many bootcut jeans in my collection. Most stuff I still kind of feel comfortable playing, and it's never been driven
But do you ever feel like you're, I mean, I feel it as just somebody going. Sometimes you're like, oh God, I'm a bit older now. Feel like I don't belong here anymore. Even though you're trying not to do that, you're like, like clubs are for everyone, dance music is for everyone, But like, because of a lot of stuff is just very much like not of the sensibility that I enjoy. It's like the bigger room stuff, the faster stuff, the louder stuff, the poppier stuff as well. Kind of feeling like you still need to carve your own space in that world. Like, so that's like when you were DJing in Hen's Teeth and it's an early night thing, but you still have to find your own tribe no matter what time of decade it is or year it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely hard. Like, you do, the one thing that you can't really have again is your 20s when you're surrounded by your mates and everyone, you're all going out together and you've got a gang, and that's, you know full well that you can't chase that. But what you can chase, I think, is just your own muse, and your own excitement and your own curiosity, creativity. And if you're following that all the time, it just pays dividends, and if you're true to that and like kind of trying to tell your own story, like I see DJs who can't mix and they're not technically good, but they tell a story that I know is their story, and that's way more interesting to me. And I definitely, like, even Sheer Festival in Dingle, the other week, that was an example of just every age from 20 to like mid late 50s really. And, people who like to get high and like electronic music and a really good mix of people. And it felt like a proper party, like a proper rave. And the deeper I went, the more they responded. And I was like, holy shit, okay, I can really go anywhere here.
That was in the green room and Dingle.
Yeah. It was like stuff like that. You're kind of almost, you just really enjoy having your own universe to explore with a crowd or kind of tell your story rather than kind of, hey kids, I'm really into whatever the latest trance trend is, whatever's next or whatever, I've never done that. And I never really will. Like, I mean, sometimes it's a coincidence, sometimes you do something and it happens to be on trend or ahead of the trend, or, and that's just, you can't, if you're chasing the zeitgeist has always moved on by the time you actually put the record out. So it's kind of pointless anyway.
Are there any other spaces or festivals that you enjoyed recently that you'd like to make a regular visit to, or you try and go again for those kind of experiences that around the country or elsewhere?
Hi, I'm Raj Punjabi from HuffPost.
And I'm Noah Michelson, also from HuffPost.
And we're the hosts of Am I Doing It Wrong?, a new podcast that explores the all too human anxieties we have about trying to get our lives right.
Each week on the podcast, Raj and I pick a new topic that we want to understand better and bring a guest expert on to talk us through how to get it right.
And we're talking like legit credible experts, doctors, PhDs, all around superheroes.
From HuffPost and Acast Studios, check out Am I Doing It Wrong? Wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, well, I mean, the obvious ones would be Another Love Story. Obviously, it's just always kind of, every corner you turn, there's just something that you kind of want to stay and watch the whole thing. And I do find Altogether now to be like of the bigger ones to just have something kind of special. And, there's a lot of different nooks and crannies and I think they really, they're just quite good towards our Irish acts as well. There's just kind of a... Yeah,
it's well programmed. There's enough stages that are, you can rely on, and if you go down to wherever, you'll find something you'll like.
Yeah,
considered.
They really know what they're doing, and I think they're respectful towards Irish acts and understand their importance and understand what we bring to the table, which is refreshing. There's trying to think of. I played Fidelity Studio at on New Year's. That was the first time.
Yeah, okay. Obviously the Toby Hatchet, another Toby Hatchet sound system, but it seems like it's slightly next level in terms of its fit out this time.
It's incredible, yeah. It's they've done such a great job. Yeah,
they had the big speakers on. I hope.
Yes, they had
ones on the dance floor. Yeah,
everything to basically.
Because I've only played in there when it's kind of bar vibes. So I was like, those speakers aren't on. I wish they were. But,
I get that thing. Well, there is some secret button that Toby apparently only presses when he's playing on it.
Of course.
But it's funny when you go down to the green room in Dingle and Ben, who runs it, and it's like the left and right speakers don't even match, and it's cobbled together. It just sounds amazing, and it's kind of like, in some ways, it's the opposite of the like, apparently Toby had to down, and he was really nervous because he's like, here comes the great dawn of Irish sound systems, and Toby was saying, holy shit, man, I don't know how you're doing it, but so, stuff like that is really great to see as well, and it all sounds great on stage. I don't know how he fucking does it, but I can't speak higher of that cheer of Ben and all that kind of down there. You're doing really special.
Well, Dingle has its own special energy going on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So your last choice that you picked is a Carl Craig project, 69. I'll play this a little bit of this now for context.
I feel like I had to pick something by Carl Craig, really, because he's just got such a massive influence on the New Jackson sound, I suppose, in all, with so many of his records. But I think 69, I remember Shit Robot Marcus at Mankin, meeting him in like the Globe, around 2012, just when New Jackson started. And he was like, I can hear the 69. I can hear the 69. And I was like, yes. I was so thrilled because I could kind of hear the Carl Craig influence on his work, and it's very...
of course.
But, again, it's just I think I love the 69 stuff, particularly that track, like just the dryness of it, like, no real reverb or, it's just such a kind of tight, machiney, dry world. And, the use of samples and the kind of toughness of the synth and the funk of it all. It's just so funky. I played that in Dingle, actually. I haven't played it out in a while. That's probably why it's been on my mind. But,
fair,
again, I just kind of find myself in the last kind of 6 to 12 months returning to that original DNA of what the New Jackson project was. And 69 would have been a massive part of it. It's just like... There was one particular rave. It was an 091. They used to call them the 091 crew collective, Galway kind of DJ gang who all kind of operated out of the beer house. They went just when the beer house opened. I think the beer house is now 20 years. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it would have been around 2010. Connor Lynham, who's one of the members of that. That was actually the DJ set that kind of, I've said it before in a couple of interviews, but I came home after that and wrote Shoot Out the Lights, which was the first New Jackson track, which is on the Nialler9 EP.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it would have been a lot of that kind of era of Detroity stuff that he was playing.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really just...
Beer House still rocking, isn't it? I went by
Beer
a couple
House
of days
still
ago,
rocking.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's there's going to be some 20th birthday celebrations coming up, I think.
Nice. Well, look, the next thing for you is your live show. You're doing New Jackson with Rory Sweeney on the Outside. Now, the Outside is a collaborative project you have with Aoife O'Neill. So you have played a few shows with it before. Certainly, you mentioned Another Love Story. I've seen you do it there.
Yeah.
So where's that project at? Because there's some really interesting stuff coming out of that as well.
Yeah, we're kind of looking. It's near the album's nearly finished. Like we started, we worked it out. We've done about 35 studio days since the kind of depths of COVID. When we had the county restrictions, and Aoife was, in her parents' place in Tralee, and I was in Ballinskelligs, and I just reached out to her. I'd always been a fan of her as a DJ and her taste, and I just really missed having a buzz in the studio. I literally hadn't worked with anyone in ages. And so she came down, and it just worked. It kind of clicked, straight away. And then we kind of made a few tracks, came up with the name, kind of started coming up with a sound. Definitely informed by a lot of that kind of Hessel audio, kind of Liberty Sound type stuff, maybe some of the kind of DJ Python kind of end of things, and Ramsey, that kind of stuff. It just started finding its own sound. Yeah, maybe like selected ambient works. One is in there quite strongly as well, that kind of era of Aphex Twin. Yeah, and then Emmett just had the faith to give us a show, Another Love Story, so we were kind of forced to finish 60 minutes of music to present to people and stand up in front, and it went really well, and we got a couple other shows then, and then slowly we've just been weeding out the weaker ideas, and it's maybe just making it more 50-50 what we both envisaged for the project. So it kind of, we're pretty much there. We have an album. Elaine Howley is singing on 2 tracks. We've one more to go. And we are presently kind of shopping around to some labels. So trying to, I think we'll shop around to a point where if we don't get the right fit, we'll just put it out ourselves with a bit of help from some friends here. But yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, it's it's just, to see some, like Aoife's just been really impressive in terms of her production skills and kind of her ear on things. She just had a massive influence over the final result. And, I'm really proud of it. I mean, I hadn't actually kind of took a step back from it for a couple of months, kind of in the last couple of weeks, getting back into because we just need one more track. And yeah, I can't wait to get it out. Hopefully it'll be this year, like around September.
Yeah. So you're going to be doing that live at the Button Factory on 28th of March, and then you've got Rory Sweeney as well playing. So it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be. It's early, so it's like doors 7:30. Which I guess these days seems to suit a lot of people. But you're done by 10:30. Maybe have a pint on the way home or whatever.
Music to my ears. There you go. Very good. Very good. All right. Well, listen, Dave, thanks so much. I really appreciate your chat and getting to chat to you about your long-run New Jackson project. Yeah. I'm always interested in what you're doing, whether it's this or your singer-songwriter, David Kitt music as well, and your various collaborations. So you're always at something.
Yes.
Right? You're always busy.
Still at many things.
Still at it. Yeah, very good. Very good. Delighted to see it. And thanks for taking the call. And chat to you soon.
Thanks,
see you at the show.
Thanks,
nice one.
Great chatting with you. Chat to you soon.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
static on the line. It's all in danger of becoming a pastime. Ever reaching for that corner of the night. I just wanna see the Sabbath in the half-life. Pull the record for a head so full of steam. Send a postcard to those memories, midnight dreams. There's no refuge like those days without an end. And I just wanna see you saddle my back again. Steve, my body now. We've my way around. Your loving rain, an easy street.
Yeah, that was David Kitt talking about New Jackson. Thanks to David for spending time with me this week. Really nice to get him on the podcast finally. If you like that chat, you know, you can support Nialler9 on Patreon. You can join as a free member first if you like, and kind of keep an eye on what's going on there. But we do exclusive playlists every week, and sometimes themed ones when I can get around to it. And this podcast is posted in full without ads on Patreon, including a special best of the month every month just for the full episode, just for members. And also you get discounts to events like the one we are doing on Wednesday, February 26th, which is our next listening party. Listen closely. We are doing it at the Big Romance as ever. It's the last Wednesday of every month. And this one on the 26th of February is the Avalanche's debut album, Since I Left You, from the year 2000. Exciting times, really interesting album, and kind of the kind of vibe we haven't really done at the listening party yet. I think we're about a time of speaking, we're about half sold out. Now the room is small enough, it's about 40 people. So if you are interested in that, do buy a ticket there. But if you are interested in coming to Nialler9 events, you get discounts pretty frequently, as much as possible. So half price tickets for the listening party are available. So but sign up for 1 month and you get a free, you basically get the ticket back. The price of the difference back in a ticket. So yeah, that's patreon.com/Nialler9. But yeah, that's it for our episode this week. Thank you for tuning in, and please, if you like what you heard, please share it and let your friends know. Do share it about in your WhatsApp groups and stuff like that. If you like David Kitt, you like the music that he's doing, like New Jackson, yeah, we just want more people to hear what we're doing. We're at a point now where we've been doing this for, God, I don't even know how long, 7 or 8 years maybe, as in its current iteration. So it would be really nice to bring in some more listeners. I think we are here and there, and I know how podcasts work. Sometimes you dip in, sometimes you don't. So always nice to hear from different people. If you want to drop us a line, it's podcast@Nialler9.com. We're always here to have a chat. And yeah, come to the listening party, February 26th, patreon.com/Nialler9. And obviously Nialler9.com for all your needs and music needs. So thanks very much for listening. And yeah, David Kitt's playing as New Jackson on March 28th, Saturday, March 28th, with The Outside and Rory Sweeney. Of course, that's a Foggy Notion show. You can get tickets now for that. Okay, brilliant. Talk to you soon. Bye bye bye.
To make switching to the new Boost Mobile risk-free, we're offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
So why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Because you have nothing to lose. Boost Mobile is offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
No, I asked why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Oh.
Wouldn't.
Because you love wasting money as a way to punish yourself because your mother never showed you enough love as a child?
Whoa. Easy there.
Yeah.
Applies to online activations. Requires port in and auto pay. Customers activating in stores may be charged non-refundable activation fees.
Hi, I'm Raj Punjabi from HuffPost.
And I'm Noah Michelson, also from HuffPost.
And we're the hosts of Am I Doing It Wrong? A new podcast that explores the all too human anxieties we have about trying to get our lives right.
Each week on the podcast, Raj and I pick a new topic that we want to understand better and bring a guest expert on to talk us through how to get it right.
And we're talking like legit, credible experts. Doctors, PhDs, all-around superheroes.
From HuffPost and Acast Studios, check out Am I Doing It Wrong? Wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks for listening to the Nialler9 podcast. If you like what we do, why not consider supporting us at patreon.com/Nialler9.